In mainstream animation, background characters are typically lifeless props, rendered as static loops to fill space. But one studio broke every rule. Welcome to the hidden world of Kyoto Animation, where every single background extra possesses a private, evolving life. While most studios cut costs by using generic crowd assets, Kyoto Animation treats every passerby as a protagonist of their own untold story. Let us examine the striking contrast. In a typical anime sequence, crowds blur into uniform color blocks reacting in unison. They march to identical rhythms, turn their heads on synchronized frames, and vanish the moment the camera focuses elsewhere. Now, shift your gaze to Kyoto Animation's productions. Here, physics, psychology, and personal geography dictate every pixel. A student in the third row drops a pencil, scrambles to retrieve it, and shares a quiet, embarrassed laugh with a seatmate. This is not accidental filler. It is a deliberate cultural philosophy rooted in the studio's obsession with human realism. To understand this philosophy, we must look at how the studio trains its animators to observe the physical world. Animators spend weeks studying real train stations, shopping districts, and school corridors, noting how strangers negotiate personal space. Notice how people do not walk in straight lines. They adjust speed, check phones, hesitate at doorways, and alter posture. When translated to animation, these observations create an uncanny sense of life that tricks our brains into believing the world is real. The studio rejects the notion of throwaway frames. Every cell drawn is treated as a container for authentic human behavior. This philosophy manifests most powerfully in their musical series, Sound Euphonium, set within a massive high school concert band. A symphonic band room is a nightmare for standard animators. Dozens of students must play different instruments with correct fingerings. Most studios solve this by blurring the background or cutting rapidly between main characters to avoid rendering the chaos. Kyoto Animation did the exact opposite. They mapped out the entire social ecosystem of the band before writing a single script line. Look closely at the second row during a tense sectional rehearsal. Watch how social hierarchies play out entirely through body language. A first-year student nervously adjusts her posture when an upperclassman glances her way, holding her breath during a difficult passage. No dialogue explains their relationship. No exposition card tells you who is friends with whom. The animation does all the heavy lifting. In another corner of the room, two percussionists share an inside joke, quietly stifling laughter while the conductor lectures. They pack up their mallets, exchange a quick nod, and exit stage left, complete characters existing outside the viewer's immediate attention. This level of meticulous detail creates a layered viewing experience, where rewatching reveals entirely new narrative threads. Fans have mapped out background romances, rivalries, and friendships that span entire television seasons without ever being spoken aloud. It transforms the screen from a flat projection into an open window onto a breathing, autonomous community. Yet, achieving this illusion requires an astronomical investment of labor and artistic discipline that defies commercial logic. While the anime industry battles chronic labor shortages and punishing deadlines, Kyoto Animation cultivates an in-house talent model. By training staff internally and paying stable salaries rather than per frame rates, they retain institutional knowledge and dedication. This stability allows animators the luxury of time to observe, time to sketch, and time to inject soul into anonymous extras. Consider how a simple hallway transition shot is handled in Kyoto Animation's masterpiece, Liz and the Bluebird. Light refracts through locker glass. Footsteps echo with acoustic accuracy based on floor materials, and background students drift naturally. Every element works in concert to reinforce the psychological weight of the scene, proving that backgrounds are emotional amplifiers. When an extra reacts to a main character's outburst with genuine shock, rather than a stock anime sweat drop, the stakes instantly multiply. We begin to realize that in this universe, no one is insignificant, and every corner of the frame holds a truth waiting to be discovered. Yet treating anonymous extras with the narrative weight of main protagonists was not merely an aesthetic choice. It was a radical blueprint engineered by a distinct studio philosophy. That blueprint traces directly back to a structural methodology known as multi-frame character tracking. In Hyouka, pay attention to a specific library regular who appears across separate episodes weeks apart. In episode 3, she struggles with a massive stack of reference books, nearly dropping them near the fiction aisle. By episode 12, her posture changes. She carries smaller text bundles and consults regularly with a different classmate. By the final arc, she secures a seat at the main study table, completing an invisible multi-episode character arc. This continuity requires rigid layout planning that separates key animators into specialized background units. Keyframe scheduling allocates specific talent solely to map out nonverbal crowd interactions before main lines are inked. While lead animators handle dialogue and dramatic focal points, secondary layout directors script the silent theater behind them. Every extra is assigned a mini-biography sheet detailing their temperament, habits, and relationship to nearby characters. A student marked as impatient will tap their foot 3 times faster than standard crowd loops dictate. Another marked as anxious will pull their jacket collar tight whenever the main character raises their voice. This intense psychological mapping reaches its emotional peak in the heavy, dramatic spaces of a silent voice. In scenes defined by social isolation and anxiety, background characters do not merely stand around as neutral scenery. They actively physically distance themselves, casting subtle, sidelong glances that externalize the protagonist's inner ostracization. Notice how a classmate in the back row shifts their desk slightly away, establishing emotional foreshadowing before dialogue drops. The environment itself feels judgmental, because every single bystander is animated with specific, critical intent. When the narrative shifts toward reconciliation, the background crowd behavior softens in tandem. Classmates who previously turned away now offer neutral or hesitant welcoming postures, signaling healing without a spoken word. This mastery over environmental motion requires animators to discard generalized asset libraries entirely. Every face in a Kyoto animation crowd is individually drawn, proportioned, and shaded for its specific placement. Consider the sheer mathematical weight of this choice across a feature-length production containing thousands of crowd cuts. An ordinary studio might utilize digital population filters to populate a train station with identical, unshaded models. Kyoto Animation hand draws the geometry of individual coats, varying hair physics according to localized draft currents. This deliberate pacing protects artistic integrity, but places immense pressure on their internal economic model. Every background interaction that tells a silent story represents hours of labor subtracted from conventional profit margins. The question of scalability haunts this artisanal approach in a global market, obsessed with rapid content delivery. Can handcrafted environmental storytelling survive in an era dominated by automated production pipelines? The studio's survival depends entirely on whether audiences continue to value what they cannot consciously see upon first glance. When viewers pause, rewind, and uncover an unscripted romance unfolding in the third row, the philosophy justifies itself. While these invisible narratives reward the most observant eyes, the hidden cost of animating an entire breathing ecosystem brings the studio's entire production model into question. That economic vulnerability is precisely what forces the studio to rely on a fiercely loyal fanbase that values durability over speed. When supporters purchase expensive physical box sets and visual collection books, they are directly subsidizing those invisible seconds of extra labor. This symbiotic patronage proves that viewers do not merely consume a story, they actively participate in spatial archaeology. By turning every background frame into an excavation site, the studio converts passive watchers into dedicated researchers. The broader anime industry has taken notice, slowly shifting how contemporary digital compositing approaches crowd choreography. Competitors who once relied entirely on copy-paste crowd filters now experiment with staggered keyframe timing for secondary actors. Yet true replication remains rare because it requires an institutional culture willing to slow down when the market demands acceleration. The legacy of Kyoto Animation's living worlds extends far beyond technical precision or aesthetic novelty. It represents an uncompromising philosophical statement about the inherent dignity of every human presence, visible or obscure. When a nameless extra stumbles, hesitates, or shares a private joke in the deep background, they remind us of our own daily choreography. Background animation ceases to be mere window dressing, transforming into an exercise in profound narrative empathy. It tells us that in a crowded room, everyone carries a story worth telling, even if no one is currently watching. And that realization is why these animated spaces continue to breathe long after the final credits have rolled. Ultimately, background animation is the ultimate testament to a rare truth. Art achieves its highest form when it cares for the unseen.